The season 16 of SnowRunner was the last season of the year 4 pass. And in every single year pass, we got many different vehicles. Some of them were better than the others. And in this video, we're going to see which trucks were the best in that year pass and which trucks were the worst in that year pass. Starting with the year 1 pass. The best vehicle of this year pass is one of the most iconic and most legendary vehicles in a SnowRunner. This vehicle was the king of a SnowRunner for such a long time. The Zig 605R. I mean, at first when you were driving this truck was unbelievable. The performance of this truck was absolutely amazing, and this was the only truck at the time that could get the things done easily in the most difficult region of a SnowRunner, Amur. And for a long time, this truck was the most capable truck in the game. I mean, no truck was even close to Zig 605R. But now, after getting more very good trucks, Zig 605R is not as useful as it used to be. Still, one of the most capable trucks in the game. It's not that fuel thirsty for a heavy truck. You have a big fuel tank and extra fuel on the roof rack. And still, in my opinion, this truck is the best truck in the game for pulling those big heavy trailers around the map. No truck can pull those trailers as easy as Zig 605R. Now, the worst truck of the year 1 pass. The truck that I would say it's the most disappointing truck in the game, the Cat 770G. This truck is just really useless. There is nothing you can do with this truck. It doesn't have any add-ons. You cannot attach a trailer to this truck. And the only add-on it has is a fuel carrier add-on. And even for that, this truck is not the best. You can just use any other truck and attach a fuel carrier trailer to that truck, and you have access to more fuel. But the truck itself, it's not really that bad. It's capable enough to go through some really deep mud. I mean, look at those tires. They are some of the biggest tires in the game, and you have one of the biggest fuel tanks in the game. But there is just nothing you can do with the big cat. I was hoping we could see this truck in Roadcraft as a very big and useful dump truck, or even a copy of the Cat 770G. But unfortunately, so far, we do not have such a truck in Roadcraft. Now for the year 2 pass. In this year pass, we got many interesting trucks. 2 of them, in my opinion, are better than the others. The Tatra Force and the Tega 6455B. Tatra Force is very reliable. It gets the job done. It doesn't have access to many different add-ons, but it has the useful ones. The very good thing about Tatra Force is the fact it pretty much never runs out of fuel. It does have a big fuel tank with extra fuel on the roof rack. In regions where you cannot find fuel stations that easily, Tatra Force is really good. But if I had to choose one truck as the best truck of this year pass, I would say Tega 6455B is the best one. I just really in this game like the Tega trucks. They are some of my favorite trucks in the game. I just love the feeling they give you when you are driving one of these trucks. And Tega 6455B is an amazing truck to drive. You have access to pretty much every single add-on in the game, and you can use the Tega 6455B for pretty much any activity in the game. The Tega 6455B is way faster than Tatra Force, but on the other hand, it's way more fuel thirsty and you don't have any extra fuel with this truck. And that is the downside of using this Tega truck. There is a chance of running out of fuel. Now for the worst truck of the year 2 pass, we don't have a truck that is as useless as Cat 770G, but there is a very weak scout in this year pass, the Gore by 4. I feel like this car is the worst vehicle of this year pass. It is one of the smallest vehicles in the entire game. You don't have much ground clearance with this vehicle. The tires are very small. And in general, the small scouts in this game are not that useful. And compared to other small scouts, Gore by 4 is not as good as those ones. Now for the best truck of the year 3 pass. The best truck in the entire game in my opinion. The big Kenworth 963. This is an absolute unit of a truck. Anything you wanna do except for pulling big heavy trailers, this truck is the best truck to use. For logging, it's amazing. For overloading, it's fantastic. And I love overloading in this game. You have access to 98% of the add-ons in the game with the Kenworth 963. And you have access to one of the biggest fuel tanks in the game. On top of that, you have access to a roof rack with extra fuel. And Kenworth 963 is incredibly capable. Even in very deep mud, this truck is not going to struggle. The performance of this truck is phenomenal and this truck is incredibly stable. But the power to weight ratio of this truck is not amazing, and sometimes when you're going up a hill, this truck is going to struggle. And that's why many people actually don't like the Kenworth 963. But at this point, I need to mention the FEM 3782. That truck is another incredibly capable truck too, more capable than Kenworth 963. And it's a very, very unique truck. It's the only truck in the game that lets you to have a 4-slot bed and you can still attach a trailer to your truck. But the articulated steering of this vehicle kind of make it a bit bad and tippy. So driving this vehicle all the time is not the greatest experience in SnowRunner. Now, for the worst truck of the year 3 pass. Pretty much 2 vehicles share the worst vehicle of the year 3 pass. The Neo Falcon 2000 and the MTB 8106 Rock Grinder. Very similar scouts, again 2 small scouts that are not that useful. In some situations, you can use the help of these 2 scouts, but in general, again, these scouts are not that useful. But if I had to pick one as the worst vehicle of this year pass, I would give it to the MTB Rock Grinder. The handling of this vehicle is not that good. You have smaller tires and smaller fuel tank compared to the Neo Falcon. But on the other hand, you have more fuel on the roof rack, you have crawler suspension, and I think one more spare wheel. Now, the best truck of the year 4 pass of a SnowRunner. We got some big trucks in this year pass, like the Slater Elephant and the Slater Chimera. But I don't think these 2 trucks are the best truck of this year pass. The best truck of this year pass is the Plat 450. The Plat 450 is just a monster. Incredibly capable and very stable truck. You have access to plenty of add-ons and it has some of the best brake system in the entire game. You think about braking, the truck stops. And you have access to very big tires. The Plat 450 is one of those trucks that you can use in any region that you want, for any activity that you want. Like this truck can get everything done. You can always find something to do with the Plat 450. The only kind of downside of Plat 450 is the fuel tank. The fuel tank is really not that big, especially when you compare it to some truck like Kenworth 963, but it's not that bad because you have extra fuel on the roof rack too. Overall, the Plat 450 is a very versatile, capable, and stable truck in this game. Again, I do want to mention another vehicle that was released in this year pass. The Earth Roamer trucks are very, very good too, and they are very unique for a scout. With these vehicles, you have access to a lot of fuel. And that radar add-on is incredibly useful for scouting, and they are the only vehicles in the entire game that have an add-on like that. Now, for the worst truck of the year for pass. I have two vehicles in mind for the worst truck of the year for pass. The first one is the AAC 58DW and the other one is the Ancatra 1160. The AAC is another small scout that is not that useful, but it has very good handling and I really like it because of that. And I really don't know I have made the right decision for this one or not. But the worst vehicle of this year pass, the year 4 pass, I would say is the Ancatra 1160. It does have some good things. The turning radius of Ancatra 1160 is very good for a tractor. This tractor is actually very capable, but overall tractors in this game are not that useful. You're going to mostly use them for farming. With this truck you have access to a logging crane, but overall I wouldn't recommend using Ancatra 1160 for logging. Any other truck is just a better choice. But the biggest problem I have with the Ancatra 1160 is the fuel tank. The fuel tank of this tractor is very small, and when you want to fully farm a farming field, there is a high chance you run out of fuel. And for a fuel tank that small, this tractor is not that fuel efficient. So overall, I don't see a good reason to use the Ancatra 1160 for anything, unless you just really love this tractor. In that case, it's not a very bad choice. It definitely will get the job done, but I would say there are just better options. And that's it for today's video. I see you in the next one.